Hi, everyone. Welcome to week 4 for ET 501. This week is your Précis assignment week. So, we had an office hour on Wednesday, and a few students asked me what a Précis even means and said that they had to look it up on Google to see the definition, etc. So, I thought that I would give you some parameters for your assignment so that you can successfully write this paper. What a précis is a strict summary of an author's argument. And it's usually limited in number of words. In our case, it's limited to 3 pages. So you don't need a title page, but if you do have a title page, then that doesn't count in your 3 pages. So 3 pages, double spaced, Times New Roman, 12-point font. You don't have to use footnotes, but you do have to reference if you do a quotation or draw a major idea from the book. And so how you would do that is you would put a parentheses at the end of the quotation, and say you're doing it on Bonhoeffer's Black Jesus, you would put something like BBJ, comma, 23. So I know the page number that you're referencing in Bonhoeffer's Black Jesus. So that's how you would note any quotations or major ideas that you're drawing from that you feel like you need to give the author credit for. Here are a couple helpful hints for your Précis assignment and what I'm looking for. So basically what I'm looking for is that if the author of the book, Larry Rasmussen or Lisa Cahill, Martin Luther King Jr., Reggie Williams, or James Hunter, if they were reading your Précis, they would say, you get what I'm trying to say in my book. You're saying it in your own words, but you get the basic thesis and how I support it. So obviously it's limited to 3 pages, so you have to be selective in what you think is important, both as a thesis statement for the book and the emphasis of the author, and as a how the author supports it, that thesis statement. So you want to be selective in that. Another helpful hint is that you want to limit your quotations. Probably 1 per page or 3 total is best. You don't want to what happens when you use more quotations than that? It's a signal that you don't quite understand the author's argument, and you're using the author's quotations to make the argument for you. So what you want is for a quotation to just punch up your argument a little bit, and especially in places where it's really important or there's a strong emphasis. So you want to be careful with the number of quotations. Another thing that you want to be careful of is to use active sentences rather than passive sentences. So an active sentence is where the subject is acting on the object. So an example is, I mowed the lawn yesterday. So I'm the subject, I'm doing the action of mowing, and the object is the lawn. Instead of something like this as a passive statement, the lawn was mowed by me. And so that's where the subject is acting on the object, but it comes at the end of the sentence. So an example of this is when you're starting out, you don't have to start out this way, but you could say in Sex, Gender, and Christian Ethics, Lisa Cahill argues that. That's an active statement, and it's giving the author the action for their argument. And so you want to use active sentences, and you want to use active sentences throughout your paper. They're stronger, they're more readable, they make your argument that much better. So try to be as active as you can in your sentences. Those are the main things that I'm looking for. You want to avoid any value judgments, and they tend to sneak in on you. So even say you're reading Martin Luther King Jr.'s book, Strength of Love, you may start off don't do this, but a lot of people do this, is in Martin Luther King's excellent book, Strength of Love, using excellent is a value judgment. And I want you to show me that you understand the author's argument in your own language, like I said, in such a way that they would say, you understand me. One caution is some of these books are a little bit older, like Martin Luther King Jr.'s book, Lisa Cahill's book. And especially with MLK in Strength of Love, he uses language that we don't use today. So in the 1960s, he used quote unquote Negro in reference to African Americans or blacks in America. And so you want to, if you use those, there's an important distinction in language between a use and a mention. So using is something like what Martin Luther King Jr. did to denote blacks or African Americans in America is he used the term quote unquote Negro. When you mention something, you would say something like Martin Luther King Jr. Martin Luther King Jr. referred to blacks in America as Negroes. That's mentioning the word, not using the word. And so you have to be careful. There are some words that you neither mention nor use. You just transpose and people know what you're trying to say and you put them in block parentheses. Some you might transpose and make a note to say, I'm using current language where Martin Luther King Jr. used this language. The other thing is that you want to use gender neutral language when possible, and especially in Strength of Love, Martin Luther King Jr. uses kind of patriarchal language, so it's mankind instead of humankind. So you want to transpose the places where an author refers to humanity but they use mankind. You want to use gender neutral language as much as possible. So yeah, those are a few helpful hints. So you have all week to work on it. I think the one thing that I said to the group in office hours is as soon as you're finished with it, edit it one more time. You'll get a better grade on it if you just edit it one more time, or you ask somebody to edit it for you to catch some mistakes, and maybe they're grammatical or maybe they're just awkward sentences. So be careful of that. And edit one more time than what you actually think that you need to do. That is the anchor of great writing, actually, is more and more editing. So yeah, I'm looking forward to reading your precis. I learn a lot by reading them each time I do, even though I choose the same 5 books each time. I still learn a lot. You kind of each person brings out a little something different, even though they're anchored around the same theses and some of the same supporting points. So that's how to have a successful week number 4. Week number 5 is going to be a little lighter on the reading, again, just in kind of recovery from the intensity of this week. I know it's kind of intense, so just do your best with what God has given you for this week, and then you'll have some short articles, but not a lot for week number 5. Okay, have a great week. And again, if you, especially this week, if you have any questions, email myself or Charlotte, or text me or call me, whatever you need to do to ask your questions. I'm happy to help you.